Round one, we have won the die roll. We would love to play first, so that'll be the first thing I do. Alright, 3 black, 1 white. Celestial Flare, Stalwart Aven, Throwing Knife. Plenty of things to be doing. I can go Throwing Knife on turn 2, Stalwart Aven turn 3, attack for 3 on turn 4. Whenever we get the second white mana available to us, this is going to come in online, and we'll keep this and go from there. Essentially, any creatures we draw are live on the turn I can cast them, and most of my spells also. Play as if we might draw the second white for Celestial Flare. Our opponent does not, however, seem to be blazing fast. Speaking of double white for Celestial Flare, it may have actually been more correct to have played to draw Despoiler of Souls. Thinking about that now, probably more correct, because the creature we're going to play, we're almost never going to cast Celestial Flare on turn 2. More correct in future reference to do double black. Play for Despoiler of Souls rather than Celestial Flare. We're now live on everything besides Koppeloped, and we just need to draw one more card to make Koppeloped live. We're not going to put Grasp of the Hieromancer on the Stalwart Aven.
It's too soon.
Because that would be putting all of our eggs in one basket. And we don't know what our opponent's second color is yet. Our opponent may be missing a land drop, which is kind of terrible. It may mean that this is a very non-interactive game. My opponent's trying to decide what he's discarding now. Guardian Automaton. Not a bad thing for our opponent to lose out on. We are going to put Throwing Knife on to our Aven, and we'll leave up the double white for Celestial Flare. Attack our opponent for 3. We are not going to use Throwing Knife. We have to, of course, declare the target, but no, we are not going to sacrifice Throwing Knife at this point. We may do it to get the kill, but I don't think we will, ever. So we have our Renowned Flyer. It's now a 4/4 flyer, thanks to Throwing Knife. And I'm happy to just keep on attacking. Well, our opponent just got his third land drop, so we'll start seeing some things happening, I guess. I feel no compulsion to cast my Eye Blight Assassin this turn or Unholy Hunger. I really think that I just want to use my Celestial Flare on it. Force my opponent to kind of worry about playing around that in future games.
True.
And showing the non-conditional removal over showing the, or the unconditional removal over showing the conditional removal, opens my opponent up to mind games. So I think I just attack for 4 and pass the turn. Also, if I ever show him Hixus starts coming into play as something that I could have had this turn. I could sacrifice the throwing knife at this point. I'm not going to. Because it would combo off with the Eyeblight Assassin on that Valeran. But not a good idea, I don't think, when I would be losing out on 2 damage a turn to do it. Presently, I have my opponent on a 4-turn clock from this point, unless I cast Grasp of the Hieromancer. The other good thing about not playing the Eyeblight Assassin is, if he does hit a 4th land drop and manages to somehow get a Wild Instinct off with any kind of additional pumps on that Valeran Warden, I can use Unholy Hunger to kill it.
True.
Well, my opponent didn't manage that, and now I get to blow him out with a Celestial Flare. This may be where he ends the game, but we'll see. I'm wondering if my opponent's completely color screwed, or if he is only playing a 1-color deck. I just am not seeing really anything of it. Okay, so Mangorger Hydra, very reasonable card to be wanting to kill. I could kill it for free with Throwing Knife, but I can also kill it for free with Unholy Hunger.
Throwing Knife's probably better in this situation because you don't want to telegraph your other removal. Although he's probably figuring you are running it because we did see 3 of them go through in the packs.
Well, that's a possibility. But using Throwing Knife, throwing the knife at that Hydra, does cost me damage. Which I don't know that I really care to do, especially since it will change my clock. I can kill my opponent in 3 turns if I do Unholy Hunger. I don't kill them in 3 turns if I cast Throwing Knife. All I have to do to kill them in 3 turns is put Grasp of the Hieromancer on the Aven at my last attack.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to go ahead and attack my opponent and do nothing. No, we will not throw the knife. I am going to play my land in my second main phase. That way, I'm not holding it in my hand, and since my opponent is giving me no reason to hold it in my hand, I can just race 1 damage a turn. Okay.
Oh, there's the Titanic.
So now, perfect time to 2-for-1 my opponent. My opponent completely loses out on 2 cards here, and I get to continue with my plan unimpeded. He also essentially lost that entire turn because there's not much he can play that's going to affect the board off 1 mana. Alright, so I will attack my opponent again for 4. Throwing Knife will target my opponent. The answer on that is no. The next card that I cast is a Shambling Ghoul. Pass the turn, my opponent now dies this next turn, no matter what he does.
True facts.
And I managed to keep a lot of things in check, which was very important to me. It gives my opponent a lot less information on sideboarding.
Well, he essentially only knows of like 3 cards, really, that you...
Yeah. I mean, he knows I'm playing vanilla. So I know my opponent's playing green, and I know my opponent is playing a bunch of ground pounders. My opponent only saw 2 creatures. One was flying, one was not. One was a very good flyer. I don't have a lot of ways to push through ground pounders, and I don't have a lot of flyers. That being said, I do have some very good value in my deck. So I think I'm going to leave it as is and submit it. This may be a deck where I want to have 18 land, but I'm not going to do that to myself at this point until I know that that's what I want to do. So we'll see you in game 2.